I kissed her by accident. Near the roadside mochi bar, I expected to see any expression on her mother's face other than shame mixed with confusion. The father, who demanded to see me personally, declared that since I had touched his daughter with my lips, I was obliged to become a good husband to her, and immediately handed me 10 gold cards as a dowry. At first, I thought it was some kind of weird prank. The baby herself was terribly afraid at first and tried to run away, even though she looked very tiny. But she still had a nasty character. She threw a tantrum and forced my mother to tie me up to make me her official daddy. At that time, I was a homeless vagabond, hiding from the pouring rain right at the entrance to the restaurant. Suddenly, my attention was drawn to a tiny human creature. This child looked to be 2 or 3 years old. 2 short legs trotted uncertainly right in the middle of the busy roadway. Without thinking about the danger, I rushed forward, picked up the girl in my arms, and thought, "What a silly girl you are, you can't run along the road alone." At that moment, the little girl looked at me with such a naive expression on her face. Her huge eyes looked straight at me, her small arms wrapped tightly around my neck, and I stood there, holding this little one close to my chest. A strange sense of déjà vu stirred within me. Even though I just graduated from college and had never even had a girlfriend, where did this child come from? "Baby, do you even know where home is?" I asked, confused. But no matter how much I tried to get an answer, she remained stubbornly silent, not making a sound, only pressing her little arms tighter against me and flatly refusing to let go, so I had no choice but to carry her to the car. I was about to take her to the nearest police station, but the little one behaved surprisingly obediently. She didn't cry, didn't make a scene, and just looked at me silently while I tried to talk to her. At that very moment, a deafening roar was heard behind me, which made me flinch, and the child in my arms closed his eyes in fear. Tears glistened in her beautiful eyes, and blood was already streaming down my forehead. Realizing that the girl was scared to death, I pushed the door with the last of my strength and tried to carefully push her out. A limited edition car skidded to a halt in the middle of a busy street near a shopping center, and a pair of slender female legs emerged from the door. A cold, piercing voice of a woman rang out, but I was no longer paying attention. The world around me began to rapidly narrow. The people around me were fussing with fear, the assistants were screaming in panic, and I only had time to think that I was going to take a calm walk, but everything went wrong. "I don't dare believe it, this is the president's beloved daughter. If anything happens to her, I'll go crazy," someone in the crowd shouted until a half-hour search yielded no results. A woman in high heels walked quickly down the street, her gaze growing ever icier, until a female bodyguard approached her with a report. Luckily, the little lady was finally found, and soon tiny Nano was brought in. The girl immediately began to joyfully wave her arms towards a car parked in the distance, threw herself on her mother's neck, and began to cry bitterly. "Nano, where did you disappear to? Do you even know how worried Auntie was?" she wailed, but the little girl only fidgeted impatiently. Through tears and haste, the woman tried to calm the child, although she herself could barely contain her emotions. Today's Nano looked like a disheveled, furry little animal, not at all reminiscent of herself in her usual surroundings next to her mother. She ran forward quickly, her short legs moving, forcing her retinue of bodyguards to barely keep up with her until she headed straight for the smoking car. She desperately stretched her arms upward, trying to get inside. The mother grabbed Nano by the arm and coldly ordered the bodyguard to check the salon, but when the door swung open, there was no one inside. This made Nano panic even more, and she began to desperately rush forward, although she usually looked soft and obedient. No one dared to contradict her anger because everyone knew about her explosive character, and the woman immediately understood something wrong had happened here. The security service immediately launched an investigation into the incident. Who was in the car and to what hospital were the victims taken? Thanks to the mother's influence, the truth came to light remarkably quickly. It took only half an hour to find out. "Mr. Feng, the same guy who saved your daughter, has been taken to the First People's Hospital by ambulance." Listening to the doctor's conversations in the corridor, I was thinking that I had escaped with only minor scratches, although the driver's condition was truly something to worry about, when suddenly I heard hurried footsteps. "The patient in this room is that very benefactor," someone only managed to say when the door swung open and a whole group of excited people rushed into the room. I lifted my head from the pillow, weakly clenching my hand, and slowly turned to face the newcomers. The faces of these respectable people were frozen in an expression of utter surprise as they stared at me with wide eyes. Gray eyes, this young man really did save Nano, and besides, he's so handsome and young. Gray eyes, why are you looking at him so strangely? A whisper was heard, but the woman did not take her eyes off me. Nano, this little brother is still very weak and needs to rest. Let's visit him tomorrow. The woman tried to persuade the girl, but the little one firmly shook her head. Her little hand gripped my palm tightly, and even my own fatigue seemed to evaporate, although those around me tried to gently distract the child. Nano, listen to your mother, let's go home, and tomorrow we'll come back to see this little brother again. They tried to persuade her, but the girl stubbornly stood her ground. Sobbing softly, she continued to hold my hand and flatly refused to leave, and when I opened my eyes again, the room was softly lit with a yellowish light, and a stern but beautiful woman stood next to the bed, watching me closely. You saved my life and my daughter's life today. I am eternally grateful to you. Thank you very much, she said, and I looked away, embarrassed. Looking at this tiny girl next to me, I couldn't help but ask with a smile, is she really your daughter? And then turned to the mother. A soft smile appeared on the powerful woman's face as she replied, hello, I am Nano's mother, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for saving our little one. I immediately realized that this woman looked like Nano's mother, and I had seen that face somewhere before Feng Zhu seriously asked me to just extend my hand. How could I extend my hand to her when I myself almost died under the wheels? And Feng Zhu looked at me with her huge eyes. After a brief silence, she asked me directly, what compensation do you want for your help? I'm a busy person. What compensation? I just saved the child. I really don't need anything from you, I replied, though Feng Zhu continued to insist. She said she could meet any of my demands and waited for me to say something. Trying to lighten the mood, I jokingly said, well, if that's the case, maybe you could give me some money, feeling the conversation growing cold. She obviously didn't expect such a simple answer from me, so she nodded and asked me to name the amount, and I quickly smiled and explained everything. I'm just kidding, I'm just a regular guy, I work in delivery. Tell me, will I ever be able to see Nano again? I added, confused. Okay, but it's late now, she's asleep. Tomorrow I'll bring her to you myself. Are you sure you don't need anything else? She asked, and I just smiled helplessly in response. Without asking for anything else, I stayed at home, and Feng Zhu watched me go with a thoughtful look. I never expected that saving their little princess would lead to such consequences, and in the silence of the night that followed, I plunged into my thoughts. At this time, in the luxurious mansion, Feng Li had just returned home and was about to enter the living room when a crash came from inside. Zio Nano had thrown another tantrum and broken a vase. Overturned chairs and broken glass lay scattered throughout the room, and frightened maids huddled to the side, afraid to even step up. One of them timidly reported, "Little Miss is on the rampage again. We couldn't stop her. She's been smashing everything since she woke up. Look how much has been destroyed." Feng Zhu almost clutched her heart from the loss because this antique cost an incredible amount of money, but before going upstairs, she decided to calm the child down. Sitting down next to her daughter and gently stroking her head, she promised, "Nano, behave well. Tomorrow Mom will take you to that uncle," and the girl instantly calmed down. A faint smile appeared on her lips, which Feng Zhu watched with surprise. I hadn't seen the baby since she was discharged, but the next day I felt almost healthy. Getting ready to go outside on business, I had just opened the door to the apartment when I felt a chilling draft from which I instinctively recoiled, and the next moment, someone small grabbed hold of my trouser leg. Looking down, I saw Nano standing quietly, looking at me with her big clear eyes, and I immediately crouched down to pick her up. "Baby, are you bored?" I asked, and Nano obediently shook her head in response. Her little arms immediately wrapped around my neck and her soft head pressed against my shoulder, and I simply couldn't let her go, while Feng Zhu, who entered, widened her eyes in amazement. Her mouth hung open in shock. Could this really be the same stubborn little demon they knew? At that moment, Feng Li's tone reminded me of another person. "Nano, your brother's wound hasn't healed yet. You can't hang on to him so much." She tried to intervene, but I only laughed in response. "It's okay, she's not heavy at all," I replied, settling myself more comfortably on the sofa and continuing to pamper the girl. "Brother, there's nothing tasty here. Do you like sweets? Let's buy you some candy tomorrow," the little girl began, while Feng Zhu simply covered her eyes with her hand. She remembered that this little demon had completely given up sweets at the age of 2, but now something strange was happening. Nano pointed her finger at the treat on the table, and I felt that strange feeling of déjà vu again until Feng Li suddenly placed a box next to me. With a slight smile, she said, Lin Yi, this is the home-cooked food my sister sent especially for you, causing Feng Li's expression to change slightly. Feng Li gave her a pointed look and muttered, shut up, it's better to remain silent when adults are talking. There were exquisite dishes in front of me, the sight of which made me hungry, and while I was thinking, Nano silently took the chopsticks and put them in my hand, looking at me with her big eyes. This child had not shown such affection to anyone for 3 years, and I asked her with a smile if she would like to try some of the food herself. I picked up a piece of fish with my chopsticks and offered it to her. Be careful, try this, and Nano obediently opened her mouth, completely destroying her previous image of a formidable bandit. The assistants standing nearby almost lost their darkin from surprise, because usually the girl was a terrible picky eater and flatly refused to eat fish or vegetables, but here she was gobbling up everything with gusto. Soon, Feng Li asked me directly again about compensation, but I just shook my head and repeated my serious answer. I really don't need anything, it's enough for me to just see Nano occasionally, I replied, after which Feng Li fell into silence for a long time. Suddenly, he said something that left me speechless. If you want, you can marry me, then you will see Nano every day. There was a complete void in my head. This man had enormous power in the capital, and certainly no one believed that he could be interested in men, so I thought I was dreaming. Or maybe the whole world had gone completely crazy, because I was just an ordinary guy and couldn't figure out what I had done to deserve such an offer, and Feng Li kept staring at me. His tone was even, but there was a firmness to it. I'm serious, I like you, and the prospect made me want to just run away. Citing the need to take care of my wound, I hurriedly said goodbye, leaving a stunned Feng Li behind. I won't force you, but think about it and come visit Nano. She needs more attention than other children, he said softly after me, and I nodded in agreement. After saying goodbye to them after dinner, I was about to leave, but Nano suddenly grabbed me with a death grip. When I gently said to her, Nano, it's time for us to say goodbye, go home, the little girl only hugged me tighter around the neck and burst into tears. Her tender little face pressed against my shoulder, and I had to carry her in my arms for a while, calming her down. Listen to your mother and I'll definitely visit you as soon as I have time, I promised, which made the girl look terribly offended. As I slowly walked down the stairs towards the exit, I was just about to call a taxi when suddenly my phone rang in the silence. Wincing with fatigue, I accepted the challenge and immediately heard the enraged voice of my agent. Lin Yi, where have you been? If you don't persuade Mr. Li today, you can't even count on getting a promotion, she shouted into the phone, but the connection was suddenly cut off by the city noise. Back at my place, I finished treating the wound and was about to throw away the old bandages when suddenly someone knocked on the door of the room, and when I opened it, I expected to see anyone but a tall figure in an elegant white dress on the threshold. I asked indifferently, why are you here? But my interlocutor only frowned slightly in response. Looking at me calmly and with a hint of dejection, he seemed to imply that he had temporarily decided to support this project, but his expression betrayed a strange disappointment. And what did you see in this Li Huyan? These women really do have a peculiar taste, although I immediately hastened to deny it. I immediately began to justify myself. Of course not, it was just a coincidence. Why did you suddenly decide to invest in our show? I know your main competitors are Tianrui Corporation. Feng Li lazily leaned back on the sofa, adopting a relaxed posture. The glass of red wine swayed slightly in his hand, radiating a unique charm. The company is called Feng Zhu, and if I wanted to wipe someone out of the market, I could just wave my hand. But it's not about the competition at all. Why are you suddenly interested in this particular script? Is it really that good? I asked, and the icy expression on Feng Li's face instantly melted. His gaze softened. It's all because you helped Nano, which made my heart flutter involuntarily in my chest. It turns out that it was all about Nano, and I thought that Feng Li himself had some personal grievances against me, but my thoughts were cut off mid-sentence. Feng Li stood up from his seat, came closer, and lightly touched my chin with his long fingers. Lin Yi, just don't let me down, he said with a faint smile on his lips. Under the gaze of everyone in the room, my heart began to beat at a frantic and alarming pace. My throat was dry and I could barely manage to say, don't worry, I'll do my best, trying to pull myself together a little. Finding myself in the silence of the room, I fearfully pressed my hand to my chest, trying to calm my wildly beating heart. Reassuring myself that everything had worked out, I firmly resolved to thank Feng Li for his help the next day, and the next day I carefully packed several nice little things. After loading the adorable toys into the rented car, I immediately headed straight to the gates of the Jinxiu estate. As soon as I got out of the car, Feng Li rushed at me with hurricane speed, grabbing my arm. "Lin Yi, you've come. Our little demon is simply out of control today. I urgently need you to influence him," he blurted out, dragging me into the house with my disheveled hair. "Nano, behave, how can you be so naughty?" he muttered, throwing open the door to the living room. I walked inside and saw a girl sitting quietly on the sofa with a book in her hands, although there was a little chaos around. But even the scattered things couldn't hide her angelic and gentle appearance, which is why Feng Li only opened his mouth in surprise, looking at this mischievous ghost. "That little brat just caused a riot. How does she manage to look such a good girl when my back is turned?" he said indignantly. Nano immediately looked up at me, threw down the book, and joyfully moving her legs, threw herself into my arms, hugging me tightly around the neck. "Nano, look, Uncle brought you a whole doll today. I didn't know what color you liked best, so I chose pink, white, and blue," I said, and Feng Li just curled his lips skeptically. "This little rascal hasn't even looked at dolls since she was a year old. I doubt she'll like your toy," he thought, but at that moment Nano nodded cheerfully. Moreover, she happily pressed her cheek to my face, kissing me as a sign of gratitude. Auntie was shocked by this attitude. Her relatives hadn't been able to get kisses from her even after 2 days of communication, and now there was such progress. I couldn't help but laugh. The main thing is that Nano likes it. Next time Uncle will bring something even more interesting. And 5 hours later, Feng Li returned home after work and, finding us playing a fun game, raised her eyebrows in surprise. Her stunning looks and incredible charm made my heart skip a beat again. What a perfect girl, who could ever appreciate her? "Mr. Feng, thank you very much for your help last night," I thanked her politely. Feng Li gracefully sat down next to him, raising her hand as if all she needed was a glass to complete the picture. Feng Li's eyes were filled with pure curiosity. After all, her sister had returned home after midnight yesterday, so was there really some kind of romance going on between her and this Lin Yi? Watching Nano play enthusiastically with a doll and a gold coin, completely oblivious to everyone around her, I gently pinched the baby on her chubby cheek. The child's face lit up with a radiant smile, and her eyes sparkled like the stars at night, because Nano had not looked truly happy for so long. "She really likes you very much," Feng Li said quietly, watching the baby's soft head trustingly pressed against me. At that moment, I accidentally touched his hand and felt a light trail of familiar perfume, which made me instinctively try to move away a little. But he gently closed the distance, pressing me against the wall in the very corner of the room, while a light breeze fluttered the curtains. Looking at me with his soft eyes, Feng Li suggested, "Stay and have dinner with us. Nano wants to spend some more time with you." In the face of such concern, I simply couldn't refuse. I nodded in agreement, and during dinner Nano flatly refused to sit anywhere but on my lap, demanding that I feed her personally, until Feng Li couldn't resist commenting. "Nano, at 2 years old you were already eating perfectly well on your own, and now you're acting like a little capricious child," he chuckled, watching how I clumsily coped with the role of nanny. "Mr. Feng, would you like some fish?" I asked politely, to which the invariable answer was, "Of course." Suddenly he looked at me intently and said, "Stop calling me Mr. Feng, just call me Feng Li," which left me at a loss for a moment. Hearing his name come out of my mouth, Feng Li's expression softened noticeably. His lips twitched slightly into a smile as he asked, "Lin Yi, where do you live now?" To which I honestly replied that I rented a small apartment not far from work. "Even though the accommodation is modest, I am quite comfortable alone," I added. Feng Li looked at me thoughtfully. "Nano is so attached to you. Do you want to move to Jinxiu Garden?" This proposal almost made the ground fall from under my feet. What did this even mean? Living here with Nano sounded tempting, but being in the house of a powerful man all the time felt extremely awkward. "Mr. Feng, I'm afraid this isn't entirely appropriate." Citing the fact that Nano had already eaten and it was time for me to go, I carefully sat the girl down on the sofa and hastily retreated from the estate. As soon as I left, the smile on Feng Li's face instantly disappeared, and he looked sternly at the maid, who immediately began to make fun of him. "It wasn't she who drove you away. Did you really not want Lin Yi around every day? I have a great idea how to keep him," she winked, and Nano immediately nodded enthusiastically. The little girl grabbed her hand, and a deep and determined gleam flashed in Feng Li's eyes. "But for that, you'll have to help me," she whispered conspiratorially, explaining that this was the only way the girl could stay here forever, and at the same time learn to call her mom, which made Nano's big eyes shine with delight. Her little head nodded happily in response as she listened to her mother's instructions. I greeted this proposal with a light and carefree smile. Of course, I had no idea about the mother and daughter's insidious plans as I returned to my quiet residential area. Right at the entrance, I ran into Wu Zihao, who greeted me with a cold smirk. "I heard our company's project is back on track and the funding should be coming straight to you. How does it feel to be dependent on an older woman?" But I just looked at him with disgust. "It's none of your business, get out of my way," I said, but Wu Zihao only brazenly leaned closer to my ear. Feng Li's cold voice sounded like a warning in my memory. "I have something for you tomorrow, don't you dare shirk," after which I turned away, knowing that this man had long been a target for the company. Life in the upscale area was quiet, but today Wu Zihao clearly came here just to humiliate me, so when I returned home, I immediately took a cold shower to wash away the aftertaste of this encounter. Suddenly the phone on the nightstand rang, and seeing a message with a cute sticker from little Nano, I felt my mood instantly improve. I immediately dictated a voice message. "Nano, it's late, time to sleep, Uncle will visit you in a couple of days," to which the little girl immediately replied that she would wait. Looking at this cute little heart, I remembered how Feng Li had quietly added, "Tell her to go to bed on time, tell her that." Even though he didn't have my direct contacts, he continued to send messages through his assistants. "Let Nano go to bed early, listen to me. Hug the doll I gave you, wrap yourself tightly in the blanket, close your eyes and fall asleep," and Feng Li at this time only smiled, looking at Nano stamping her little feet. Shaking my head, I chuckled. Did she usually only go to bed at 11? It was only 9 o'clock now, and Nano was already fast asleep. When Feng Li finally came out of the nursery, Feng Zhu ran up to her impatiently at the door. "Sister, tell me honestly, are you in love with Lin Yi?" But Feng Li's face only showed an expression of complete denial. "Don't be silly, there's nothing between us," she replied, to which her sister immediately retorted, "Then why are you always busy with work? You better think about your personal life," flashed through Feng Zhu's mind until an image suddenly popped into his head. What appeared before her eyes was not just Lin Yi's handsome face, but something more than that, something that could not be faulted, and the caring sister immediately thought, "Who is he? Why does Feng Zhu care about other people's affairs?" Tapping her sister on the forehead with a light reproach, she replied, "Don't read coffee grounds," and the next morning. The phone call mercilessly tore me out of my sleep, and somehow feeling for the device on the pillow, I heard my friend's worried voice. "Lin Yi, have you even seen what's going on the internet? You and Mr. Li are being trashed all over the public. The company even decided to take away your supporting role," she blurted out, but not a muscle moved on my face. I even started laughing because I understood perfectly well where these rumors were coming from, and I was sure that Feng Li would easily deal with this storm. "Okay, I'm trying to do something myself, I have to run errands," she muttered and hung up, after which I immediately went to the search engine. The articles were full of headlines about the little-known actor Lin Yi and the influential Mr. Li, causing me to throw my phone on the bed in frustration, involuntarily recalling Wu Zihao's provocations from yesterday. I knew very well what this man was capable of, and although the investor in the project was not Feng Li in the usual sense, the thought of Nano forced me to pull myself together. I decided to write a short message. "Nano, is your mom home now?" A funny animated sticker with a nodding teddy bear arrived in response. Was the little girl really that good at using a phone? Another tender confirmation followed, and my heart completely melted from the warmth. Without waiting for the ringtone to end, I immediately took off and went to the company office, determined to put an end to Wu Zihao's antics. But as soon as I got out of the elevator on the first floor, the receptionist blocked my way. "State the purpose of your visit and who you are going to see," she said dryly, to which I replied, "I am looking for President Feng, I have an appointment." "Mr. Feng is very busy and won't see just anyone, so please move on," I was told coldly at the reception desk, where a well-dressed Kaio Nansheng was milling about, also dreaming of getting into management. I just smiled bitterly to myself, realizing that I had neither the connections nor the big name to count on a special reception. "I personally know your president, just tell him that Lin Yi has arrived," I tried to insist, but in response I only heard an arrogant, "Young man, it would be better if you left on good terms and didn't make a scene." The administrators had already started exchanging glances and calling security, and I was about to turn around and leave. Suddenly, Feng Zhu ran out of the hallway and exclaimed in surprise, "Lin Yi, why are you here? Have you come to see my sister?" To which I nodded, "Yes, I need to talk to President Feng about something." The security guard at the entrance immediately froze, and Feng Zhu turned angrily towards the reception staff. They instantly turned pale and began to fuss. "Miss Zhu, we didn't know that this young man was your friend. Forgive me for God's sake." "My sister will deal with your arbitrariness herself," Feng Zhu said coldly, and then turned to me. "Come on, Lin Yi, I'll take you to her office." And already in the elevator, she began to sincerely apologize for this incident. "Don't take these snobs to heart. The capital is full of such people. Just wait, my sister will quickly put them in their place," she reassured me, and I only smiled modestly in response. "You shouldn't worry so much about little things," I replied quietly, although indignation was still seething inside. "How could this even happen? You're practically family. Such a huge corporation. Can't they get their act together?" Feng Zhu fumed as we walked down the hallway to Feng Li's office, where the atmosphere was heavy and tense. The senior executives sat at the long table in complete silence, afraid to even breathe under the president's stern gaze. Someone tried to timidly justify themselves. "Mr. Feng, we acted in the interests of the company." But Feng Li only interrupted them with a harsh wave of his hand, and noticing me at the door, abruptly stood up from the table. "Lin Yi, why are you here?" he asked in surprise, coming closer. "I wanted to talk about the latest news and investments. Perhaps you should take your money back since I'm the one causing all these problems at the company," I asked bluntly, feeling out of place. Apparently, Wu Zihao had once again had a hand in spreading dirty rumors, which was why they tried to get me off the set. And Feng Li, instantly grasping the gist of it, immediately glared angrily at Feng Zhu, who was standing next to him. It wasn't even 5 minutes before the security team gave a full report on the incident, and Feng Li firmly stated, "Lin Yi, forget about it. Not only will I not take back the investment, but I'll also make sure that this time you get the leading male role that you've long deserved," he said with unexpected warmth in his voice. Frankly, in my entire modest career, I had never been so pampered, and although I was used to playing only minor characters in cheap tracksuits, now I had to completely rewrite my usual life script. "If you have a free minute, be sure to drop in on Nano," Feng Li said, continuing to look at me with his deep and piercing gaze. Lowering my head in embarrassment, I quietly asked, "Feng Li, why are you so kind to me?" And his expression instantly softened. "Didn't I already tell you that I want you to be my husband?" Which almost made me choke in surprise. "But only Nano loves me, and you, Mr. Feng, don't have to joke with me like that." I tried to joke, but Feng Li didn't seem to even want to listen. "I'm absolutely serious. Don't you want to marry me?" But I just waved him off in fear. "I don't need your money," and quickly turned away. "I have to go. I won't distract you from your work," I threw over my shoulder, feeling the atmosphere around me begin to tense. Feng Li's face darkened with annoyance for a second, but I was already rushing home, where I immediately turned on the phone. The screen immediately lit up with new notifications. A scandal involving the popular actor Lin Chen had appeared in the trending news, even though I knew full well its fundamental nature. Lin Chen would never stoop to such a level, and I sincerely hoped that the public wouldn't jump to conclusions after seeing a familiar name in the news. Clutching the phone so tightly that my knuckles turned white, I remembered what was happening at the Lin family mansion at the same time. The enraged mother scolded Lin Chen, "You're too soft-hearted. Why do you even care about this Lin Yi's problems? Since leaving home, he hasn't even thought about his family and clearly doesn't consider us his relatives," to which the boy tried to gently retort, "Mom, no matter what, Lin Yi is my brother. Should I just abandon him in trouble?" But then the cold second sister intervened in the conversation. "Lin Chen, your kindness will not lead to anything good. Have you forgotten how your previous attempts to help ended?" However, the morning silence was broken only by an irritated silence. "I don't want to return to this topic anymore. My brother never wished harm on anyone," Lin Chen replied, and at that moment an incoming call from Liu Xin appeared on my screen. This time, his voice was surprisingly soft and cautious. "Lin Yi, the main investor, insists that you play the male lead this time. Otherwise, they threaten to completely shut down the project. Could you please reconsider?" Which made me involuntarily laugh out loud. I'm afraid I can't handle such a burden because you yourself said that I'm not fit even for the second role, let alone the main character. But Liu Xin immediately started babbling into the phone. Lin Yi, believe me, the producers are endorsing your candidacy. Aren't you even going to try to think about this offer? Hearing the sincere notes in his voice, I fell silent thoughtfully. Okay, I'll think about it, I replied, and in the meantime, the situation with my online name began to rapidly change for the better. Influential tabloids began publishing refutations, proving that nothing illegal had happened at the hotel that night, and authoritative witnesses confirmed that Lin Yi had been the victim of a dirty slander. Seeing this unexpected news, Wu Zihao turned pale with fear and grabbed the phone. Frantically dialing the number, he spoke ingratiatingly. Brother Chen, I have no idea who decided to cover for Lin Yi this time. Is it really just a coincidence? But the only response on the other end of the line was a cold and distant refusal. Keep watching his every move and make sure you don't screw up this time, they told him over the phone. Wu Zihao's lips curled into a malicious grin. Lin Yi is just the exiled heir of the Lin family, not some influential mafia member. But I didn't care about his threats. Even though I felt like a homeless vagabond, I had no intention of returning to the family that had betrayed me, even though I knew perfectly well who exactly had helped me unravel this mess. Feng Li extended a helping hand to me, and I was determined to come in person to express my gratitude to him, when suddenly there was a knock at the door. When I opened the door, I saw no one on the threshold until I felt a soft pressure at my feet. Looking down, I noticed Nano. The little girl trustingly snuggled up to my feet, holding a small gift bag in her hand, and smiled happily. I smiled happily and picked up the girl in my arms. Nano, did you really come all alone? To which she only shook her head. Turning around, I saw Feng Li standing nearby, who was wearing an elegant long red dress today. Like a mountain snow lotus, she looked incredibly graceful and regal, but at the same time unapproachable. Nano was throwing a real tantrum, demanding to be taken to you, and I just couldn't resist her request after work. I hope we're not at a bad time, to which I quickly shook my head. What are you saying? I'm always happy to see Nano. Feng Li gracefully stepped over the threshold and walked into the apartment. Having seated the girl on the sofa, I politely asked the guests, what would you prefer for dinner? Maybe we should order something or go to a restaurant? But Feng Li gently shook her head. It's chilly outside, let's have a snack at home, she replied, after which I turned my gaze to the baby. So Nano, would you like some of Uncle's signature beef noodles? The girl nodded happily in agreement. She then handed me the same colorful bag she had brought with her, and Feng Li explained, these are her favorite snacks. She thought you might like them too, so she insisted on taking them with you, she added, and Nano looked at me with her huge, wide eyes full of hope. I smiled, touched, and said warmly, I'll definitely try it, thank you very much, Nano. Hearing this, the little girl beamed with joy and happiness. She immediately tried to open the bright packaging herself, but her small fingers couldn't cope with the thick plastic. Out of zeal, the little one even tried to help herself with her teeth, to which I smiled affectionately. Let me help you, little fidget. Carefully cutting the bag open, I poured the treat into her little palms. Have some, Nano. Now sit here and play for a bit while the uncles make some delicious noodles, I added, and the girl obediently nodded. Having settled down on the carpet, she began to happily devour the sweets, which looked quite funny. This usually capricious child wouldn't even look at the snacks, and I became curious, to which I immediately turned to Feng Li. Mr. Feng, have you had dinner yet? It's quite late. Feng Li shook her head, replying, not yet, I'll be happy with whatever you cook. Homemade beef noodles sound great. I was a little surprised. Who would have thought that the all-powerful president of the corporation was also not averse to ordinary home-cooked food? Then make yourself comfortable and I'll get the ingredients, I said and disappeared into the cozy kitchen. Feng Li followed me and quietly suggested, would you like some help with the cooking? I smiled. No way, you should rest in the living room and keep Nano company. How can I let the CEO mess around with the dishes? I protested, but Feng Li was adamant and volunteered to help. Using her knife skillfully, she cut perfect pieces of beef for me, leaving me genuinely surprised. Do you know how to cook? I blurted out, apparently reflected on my face. What, don't men really need to learn such simple things? She retorted with a slight smile, wondering what to do next. I suggested that she heat up the frying pan, and watching her confident movements, I realized that she was familiar with kitchen utensils firsthand. Amazed that the formidable businesswoman was able to manage a kitchen, I simply asked her to fry the meat carefully. She smiled cheerfully and asked again, "So, how do you like my culinary skills?" To which I nodded approvingly. "I must admit, the meat smells amazing." "Tell me honestly, I was the first one you asked to cook dinner," she asked with a sparkle in her eyes, making me feel embarrassed. "Of course the first. It's a great honor for me to try something you prepared with your own hands." "That turned out incredibly delicious. You definitely have a talent for cooking," I praised her, noticing the rare, soft smile that flickered across her face. When the fragrant dinner was completely ready, as soon as the plates were placed on the table, Nano's eyes immediately lit up with anticipation, but I stopped her. "Wait, baby, let me wash your hands first." I gently blew on the hot piece of beef, cooling it, and offered the girl a try, and she obediently took a small bite and swallowed it right away. The little girl nodded happily and gave a little thumbs up in approval. "Did you really like it, Nano?" I smiled, and she just nodded her head affirmatively, demanding to continue. While I was feeding the baby, Feng Li carefully added portions of noodles to our plates. Suddenly, she looked at her daughter in surprise and asked, "Nano, why don't you eat by yourself? You're already big and have been doing this perfectly since you were 2, but the girl just stubbornly shook her head. She grabbed my sleeve tightly with her little hands and flatly refused to let go, causing Feng Li to just sigh helplessly. "It's okay, she's still just a baby. I'll be happy to feed her myself," I reassured my guest with a smile. Nano's face lit up with a happy smile as I brought the spoon to her lips. I placed my free hand on the girl's head and stole a glance at Feng Li, whose face remained completely unperturbed. It seemed like this little sly angel was doing all this just for attention, but I continued to happily play with the child. At this moment, Feng Li suddenly took my plate away. "Nano, let mommy feed you this time," she suggested softly, but the girl only shook her head decisively. Still clinging to my clothes, she turned away from her mother and flatly refused to accept food from her. Only after much gentle persuasion did I manage to persuade Nano to eat at least a couple of spoonfuls from Feng Li's hands. She looked so stunned, as if she doubted whether it was really her own child, after which we quickly ate the rest of the dinner. I was about to collect the dishes and take them to the sink, but Feng Li got ahead of me, decisively intercepting the plates. "You better sit with Nano and I'll clean everything myself," she said, and I watched in surprise as the woman in high heels confidently walked toward the kitchen. To be honest, the whole scene looked incredibly surreal, and at that moment Nano climbed back onto my lap and snuggled up trustingly. "If our little princess likes Uncle's food so much, you can come here more often," I said, gently stroking her hand. At that very moment, a sharp sound of clinking dishes came from the kitchen. I immediately shouted, "Listen, it's already very late outside and a strong wind is rising. If you stay here, it will be much safer than driving through the entire night city." Nano immediately nodded vigorously, fully supporting my proposal. In the end, mother and daughter really did have to stay overnight, and my soul was in complete disarray. I quickly looked into the bedroom to tidy it up, then pulled a clean blanket out of the closet, preparing to settle down for the night in the living room. Feng Li, who came out of the kitchen, looked at me in surprise and asked directly, "Lin Yi, what are you thinking of?" "It's okay, you and Nano lie down on the bed in the bedroom and I'll make myself comfortable here on the sofa." I tried to wave it off. But Feng Li just shook her head. "Nonsense, there's enough space in the room for everyone, let's go to bed." At that moment, sleepy Nano slipped out of the room, ran up to me and sleepily kissed me on the cheek goodbye. After watching them go, I touched with my fingers the place where the child's kiss had just landed with a warm smile. Nano was such a wonderful girl that I caught myself thinking wickedly how much I wished she were my own daughter. Apparently, against the backdrop of these evening experiences, I dreamed that little Nano was trustingly hugging me around the neck, quietly sobbing. This tender picture brought a happy smile to my lips even in my sleep. Suddenly, the living room door opened silently, and Feng Li's graceful figure in soft house slippers appeared in the darkness. She quietly approached the sofa and froze above me, peering into my face in the semi-darkness. A moment later, she leaned even closer and lightly, almost weightlessly, touched my lips with hers. In my sleep, it seemed to me that I was surrounded by some dangerous but attractive element, which caused a chill to run down my spine and sweat to appear on my forehead. Abruptly awakened by my own sensations, I opened my eyes and realized that the rays of the morning sun were already flooding the entire room. Rising from the sofa, I met the gaze of Feng Li, who was already standing by the window in an elegant outfit, declaring with a slight smile that she intended to demonstrate her culinary talents again today. Looking up, I saw Feng Li carefully placing a tray with a cooked steak on the table. "This is breakfast for you," she said with a slight smile. Moving her plate slightly awkwardly and pouring a glass of milk, she added, "I hope you like it. I just noticed the steak in your fridge and thought I'd give it a try." After washing myself and leaving the room, I noticed Nano, who was still sleepily rubbing her eyes, trying to finally wake up. Carefully picking up the baby in my arms, I couldn't resist gently kissing her velvety cheek, which was white and smooth like an eggshell. "First we need to wash up, let's use a new toothbrush," I said softly, helping her get ready. Nano nodded obediently and, squinting her eyes playfully, began to brush her teeth, and I just smiled, lightly pinching her chubby cheek. Before we all sat down at the dinner table, there was a plate with a small piece of steak in front of Nano, but the girl was just twirling the fork in her hand, clearly not showing any appetite. "Nano, eat at least a piece for breakfast, and by lunch I'll definitely cook your favorite dishes," I tried to persuade her. Looking at this perfect plate, I still couldn't shake the thought that what was happening seemed somehow unreal, because the CEO himself had prepared breakfast for me. I gently pinched my cheek and felt a slight pain, which meant it wasn't a dream at all. Feng Li had indeed just made me breakfast, and I struggled to keep the corners of my mouth from twitching as I began to eat. The baby ate only a tiny piece, and no matter how much Feng Li tried to persuade her, it was impossible to force more into the tiny mean. After stroking her disheveled head, I decided to quickly fry a couple of eggs, and within 5 minutes I had a fresh dish on the table. Nano enthusiastically took a bite, and Feng Li decided to try it too, immediately exclaiming admiringly, "Lin Yi, I didn't know you were such a great cook. Did you learn this somewhere?" At these words, my face darkened slightly, because yes, I once mastered cooking for a completely different person. In those days, I persistently studied all the recipes that Liu Ruyan loved so much, sincerely believing that we would spend our whole lives together. Who would have thought that all these dreams would ultimately turn out to be just an empty dream? Feng Li noticed the change in my mood and chose not to pursue the matter further. When Nano finally finished breakfast, Feng Li stood up from the table and said, "Lin Yi, I have to go to the office. I'm really busy today. Could you watch Nano until this evening? If you have time, take her to the children's park and I'll pick her up after work," she asked, to which I nodded confidently, "Sure, no problem." Adding that if she was late at work, she would send a car for her daughter. Feng Li said goodbye and quickly left the house. Nano immediately wrapped her arms around my neck, not wanting to let go. "Okay, let's wave goodbye to Mom," I said, although there wasn't the slightest hint of sadness on Feng Li's face before leaving. "Do you want to go to work with Uncle today, Nano?" I asked, and the little girl nodded happily, although her hair was a little disheveled from sleep and her clothes were a little wrinkled. With patience, I carefully combed her curls and tidied up her outfit, after which we went together to the company office, where Liu Xin was already waiting for me to talk. "Have you thought about the producer's offer? I think it's an incredible opportunity for you," he started, playing right out of the gate as I settled into the sofa with a cup of tea. "Yes, I thought about it, but I have one condition. I'll only agree if Wu Zihao is my partner, otherwise I refuse," I answered calmly, causing my agent's face to instantly twist in shock. "Are you crazy? Wu Zihao has already been cast as the lead and you're only being offered a supporting role, and to force a popular star to adapt to an extra, there's no way he'll agree to that." Liu Xin waved his hands. "If not, then let them look for someone else," I shrugged without even turning around. "Then let's replace him with Lin Chen," I said as a parting shot. Liu Xin's smile instantly vanished. "Do you even realize what you're saying? You think you're a big star even though you only debuted a couple of months ago. If it weren't for the influence of that mysterious investor, do you think anyone would even notice you?" He practically threw his fists at the table, attracting the frightened glances of the employees in the corridor, but I didn't care at all about his hysterics. "If the conversation isn't going well, then forget about it, Nano. Let's go home," I called to the girl, who immediately threw herself at my feet and grabbed my pant leg. Liu Xin looked back and forth between me and the child, confused, noting how strangely we looked together. Unable to bear it, he asked directly, "Listen, Lin Yi, is this by any chance your daughter?" To which I shook my head. "No, this is the daughter of a good friend of mine." Liu Xin breathed a sigh of relief, because in show business, the presence of a secret child in a young actor's life could instantly ruin his entire career among fans. Having calmed down a bit, he tried to think rationally. "Okay, Lin Chen will definitely not agree to play in tandem with you, but regarding Wu Zihao, I'll try to throw the bait to the vice president, although the contract amounts are too large for the company to simply brush it off. I simply silently led Nano out of the office, feeling an extraordinary lightness, as if for the first time in a long time someone else was dictating the rules of the game, rather than me adapting to the circumstances. Humming a cheerful tune under my breath, I strolled through the office corridors with my little one, drawing astonished glances from my colleagues. "Lin Yi, when did you even get married? Is this your child from a college crush?" the coworkers whispered behind his back. Nano hid behind my legs in fear, tired of so many unfamiliar faces. I hastened to reassure everyone, "Guys, this is not my daughter but my friend's child, but I'll admit honestly, I myself wouldn't refuse such a wonderful little girl." Meanwhile, at the other end of the building, Wu Zihao was furiously smashing his office, throwing papers from side to side. "What are they doing? They're demanding that I partner with that upstart Lin Ye. He only has a couple of lines in his portfolio. He'll never see anything like that in this life," he yelled at the entire floor while Liu Xin tried to calm him down. "We can't go against the main investor's terms. I've already called influential people and even your uncle has given his approval," the agent tried to justify himself. Wu Zihao's trembling grew even more violent at these words. "Even uncle agreed? This is a disgrace to our family. I'll go to him myself and tell him I'll never stoop to filming with that clown extra. He hasn't even looked at his own face in the mirror." With these words, he flung open the office door in a rage and flew out. Liu Xin only shook his head helplessly at the presumptuous rich kid, realizing that without the support of his influential relatives, Wu Zihao would have been kicked out of here long ago. Having decided not to ruin my nerves with this circus any longer, I took Nano by the hand and led her to the nearest supermarket to buy her favorite sweets. I bought Nano a beautiful bow tie and a hair clip, and a whole big jar of her favorite sweets to boot. Dressed in a neat dress and with that very bow tie on her head, the little girl proudly held a heavy jar of candies in her hands. Feng Zhu had a hard time recognizing in this obedient girl the little domestic tyrant that everyone in the capital was accustomed to. Feng Li greeted them in the hallway with a smile. "Well, you're finally back, Nano, and where's your uncle?" To which the housekeeper hastened to explain. "Mistress, young Master Lin went out on business right after delivering the baby," causing Feng Li's expression to darken slightly for a moment. "Come here, my dear, tell me what uncle gave you. Just be careful not to spill the candy," Feng Li called to her daughter affectionately. Nano's cheerful laughter and cheeks flushed from the cold revealed her excellent mood. It seemed the winter walk had done her good. "This little devil has completely gotten out of hand and now only listens to his Uncle Lin," Feng Zhu thought with affection. At that moment, a car horn sounded outside the window, and the housekeeper joyfully exclaimed, "Miss, it looks like your parents and older brother have arrived." Second brother Feng was the first to get out of the car, helping the rest of the family, and Feng Zhu, throwing down her chopsticks, rushed to the exit, saying, "Mom, Dad, you finally came to visit us. I told you I was perfectly fine." The most important thing in a person is not his origin, but his personal qualities, Feng Zhu continued to chirp, drawing her parents into the house. "Uncle Lin is the best. I had dinner at his house last night and he bought me so many cool things," Nano boasted happily, waving her treasured jar of sweets. The elderly couple looked at each other in surprise, looking at their beaming granddaughter, who did not want to part with the gift. Mom immediately started asking Nano, "Who is this Uncle Lin? What's his personality like? How old is he? And in general, is he handsome and well off?" "Mom, stop it. Your older sister never has time for a personal life. Don't scare people with your questions," Feng Zhu tried to reason with her. Feng Li's smile barely tugged at the corners of her lips while Feng Zhu winked at her parents. "Dad, don't worry. I'll help my sister find her own happiness myself. This man gets along well with both me and Nano." "Well, if that's the case, then you both need to hurry up. Your sister will soon be turning 26, and if she doesn't bring a groom home this year, you can forget about family celebrations for the new year," the mother said sternly. "Mom, I'm still very young," Feng Zhu tried to object. "You're no match for the young ones. Your older sister is already her age," the mother persisted. "Mom, but Nano has already been born. Do you really want to repeat?" Feng Zhu retorted. "Well, don't worry, you'll soon have a son-in-law," Feng Zhu smiled mysteriously, seeing her parents off and anticipating a grand plan. The parents soon left the estate, leaving their daughters to wonder when the long-awaited son-in-law would appear in the house. "Well, now all that's left is to wait for the right moment," Feng Zhu thought with a victorious smile. "Don't I deserve a reward for how cleverly I handled everything?" She winked slyly at her sister. Feng Li casually reached into her purse and pulled out an unlimited VIP card for a high-end beauty salon. Feng Zhu immediately happily snatched the card from her hands. She hugged her sister enthusiastically and beamed. Big sister still knows me better than anyone, while little Nano stared wide-eyed at the shiny plastic. To everyone's surprise, the little girl, who usually shied away from excessive affection, suddenly ran up and hugged Feng Zhu's leg tightly. Feng Zhu's heart almost melted from such unexpected tenderness, and she immediately tried to take the girl in her arms. "Little one, you're still too young for spas. When you grow up, we'll definitely go together, okay?" But Nano just stubbornly shook her head, continuing to reach for the map. Feng Li watched the scene with a smile. "She's not trying for herself, silly girl. Nano wants to give this card to Uncle Lin," Feng Li guessed, understanding the true reason for the child's generosity. Having received a refusal, a frustrated Nano pouted, grabbed her favorite lollipop and ran off to the nursery in an offended manner, leaving the adults completely bewildered. Having retired to her room, little Nano took out her children's phone. A new voice message from Lin Yi appeared on the screen. "Nano, Uncle Lin is already home. Go to bed early, otherwise you won't grow up." The girl listened to the recording several times with a smile. Curled up under the blanket, she closed her eyes sweetly, imagining the morning meeting. Meanwhile, Lin Yi put down his phone with a satisfied smile and was about to take a refreshing shower when suddenly, the phone rang. Expecting to hear Nano's voice, he picked up the phone, but instead heard Liu Xin's businesslike tone. "The matter with Wu Zihao has been settled. He has agreed to be your opponent. I hope you won't let the company down, Mr. Lin." Lin Yi raised his eyebrows in surprise. He certainly didn't expect such a turn of events, knowing Wu Zihao's stubborn nature. "I thought he would stand his ground to the last and sabotage the filming with a script for a minor character," he thought. Late that evening, while continuing to read the lines of the new script, Lin Yi fell asleep without realizing it, forgetting to set his morning alarm. The sun's rays were already flooding the room when the telephone began ringing incessantly. An urgent message from Liu Xin appeared on the screen. "Lin Yi, where are you? The entire company management, headed by Mr. Sun, has already gathered in the conference room. Why aren't you here yet?" Lin Yi jumped out of bed in a panic and shouted into the phone, "Mr. Liu, please cover me for a minute. I'll be there in 20 minutes, while frantically pulling on his clothes. Rushing to the office at full speed, he was still half an hour late, and Liu Xin met him at the door with a gloomy, guilty look. "Do you even realize what you've done? Such a meeting has been disrupted, and Mr. Sun himself and the influential Mr. Zhang are here," the agent hissed. "Forgive me, for God's sake, I was studying new scenes until the morning yesterday." Lin Yi smiled guiltily, heading towards the treasured door. "Come in quickly, I was trying to stall for time," Liu Xin whispered. A tense silence reigned in the spacious office. In addition to the bosses, a disgruntled Lin Chen was also sitting at the long table. Mr. Sun rose from his seat and said coldly, well, what an important person. Because of one actor's lateness, the entire film crew waited for half an hour. "It's my fault," flashed through my mind, leaving a bitter regret. At that moment, I was sitting directly across from Lin Chen. Suddenly, my phone vibrated with an incoming message. "Brother, when did you get back? Why didn't you tell your family? I'm so worried about you. Hee, it's chilly here." At that very moment, I mentally promised myself to block Lin Chen at the first opportunity. Mr. Sun approached me with a proposal. "The investor wants to give you the lead male role, but we should distribute the remaining positions among our company's employees." Hearing the question, "Lin Yi, what is your opinion?" I raised my head and answered confidently. "I have no objections to the lead role, but I have one condition. I want to play a supporting character." A shocked murmur swept through the room. No one expected a person to voluntarily give up the central role. Liu Xin reacted faster than the others, casting a startled glance at me. "Are you out of your mind?" she asked me. "Did you just turn down a leading role in front of everyone for a supporting one?" I calmly confirmed, "Mr. Liu, you heard me correctly." Convinced that I was indeed giving up the lead role, Wu Zihao could barely contain his triumphant smile at that moment. Containing my excitement, I said, "You just heard it yourself, so don't deny it. Mr. Sun still has some unresolved issues." "Are you sure this is how it should be?" "Well then, Mr. Sun, I'll handle all the issues with the investor myself." After thinking for a few seconds, I added, "I consider this task extremely important, and I have no desire to get involved with this newbie. Let Wu Zihao handle it." Mr. Sun immediately nodded in agreement. Lin Yi, then take this matter personally. Aside from the 2 roles I choose, candidates from other companies are not suitable. Immediately after the meeting, Wu Zihao hurried after me and said sarcastically, Lin Yi, I didn't expect such conscientiousness from you. You know perfectly well that the main character's burden is beyond your capabilities, but don't think I'm in your debt. I retorted coldly, this leading role was originally mine and I gave it to you. Now it's simply a return of due. Oh, come on, he waved it off. I'm not going to feel obligated. It was your own choice and it's better this way. It's for your own good that this guy showed such prudence and you don't even appreciate it, Wu Zihao snapped irritably. Open the door and get in the car. The cold air inside the car washed over me like an icy wave. Boiling with anger and gritting my teeth painfully, I left the building and hurried away, hoping not to meet any more unnecessary people. Early in the morning, I was awakened by quiet, ingratiating words. Brother, when did you get back? I turned sharply and coldly to the speaker. What's wrong with you, Ling Chen? Mom and Dad are worried just like me. We hope you'll finally come home. When will you be coming? He continued his morning interrogation, eliciting only a bitter smile from me. Come home? Isn't this your own home? Stop pretending to me this morning. There are no strangers here. You know perfectly well what happened 4 years ago. Ling Chen immediately started to babble in his defense. Brother, I told my parents it wasn't him who pushed me, but they simply didn't believe me. In anger, I cut him off. I had to send you abroad solely because I was afraid of becoming a victim of your manipulations again. Lin Chen, you've caused me too much pain, and it's not just that. Your petty meanness has long been known to everyone. You know, your parents still think of you as the perfect son. While he continued to play the innocent victim, I really didn't do anything. Ru Yan appeared in my field of vision. You said it yourself that you let him down and he was really upset about it. So the 2 of us, my face instantly turned to stone with anger. I swung the door open and ordered him to disappear from my sight immediately. Ling Chen's gaze was icy and calculating. He knew full well that Liu Ruyan remained my only vulnerability, and now he cynically used this against me as soon as I returned to China for the sake of my career. Of course, he'll feign politeness since all the levers of influence over domestic entertainment companies are concentrated in his hands. I had to leave immediately. Knowing that it would be difficult to get through, I still took out my phone and dialed Feng Li's number. Due to the time difference, I didn't bother her until after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Upon entering the conference room, I noticed Feng Li was wearing a long black dress. Like a graceful black butterfly, she sat on the sofa. A high-ranking subordinate stood before her, half dead with fear, afraid to raise his head after the rant. Her icy gaze pierced right through me. Her voice was merciless. What's your plan? Where's the proper market analysis? You didn't even bother to conduct basic market research and you dare come here with this? Cold sweat trickled down the official's forehead. He stuttered as he tried to justify himself. Mr. Feng, although we missed this point, in fact, a deep analysis. At that moment, the silence was broken by a phone call. Having recognized the subscriber, she immediately interrupted the meeting, ordered everyone to disperse, and hurriedly headed for the exit of the meeting room, accepting the call as she went. Lin Yi, do you need my help, or perhaps you've finally decided to marry me? Feng Li's voice came through the phone. Mr. Feng, please stop joking. I'd like to discuss investing in a film project with you. Okay, let's meet today at 4 o'clock. If you want to see Nano, you can stop by Jinshu Garden, Feng Li suggested, and I hesitated for a few seconds. The thought that I hadn't seen little Nano all day and that I missed her terribly prevailed. Okay, then I'll come to Jinshu Garden, I replied, hearing Feng Li's light chuckle in response. You might want to come a little earlier to spend time with Nano beforehand. She's in a difficult situation, and it's not always easy for her to be around other kids, but she's incredibly smart. She draws and writes stories beautifully. I agreed without hesitation. It's agreed, I'll be at Nano's this afternoon. Mr. Feng, I won't bother you any longer. Having dropped the call, she broke into a wide smile, leaving the assistant standing next to her in a state of complete stupor. Their always cold boss actually smiled, and her face at that moment lit up with such radiance as if she had never experienced such happiness in her life. It was the first time she'd ever called someone with such childish, pure delight. The assistant desperately wanted to know who this mysterious interlocutor was, who had made the stern Feng Li forget her usual icy mask. What are you looking at? She snapped at her subordinate. Nothing. Assistant Lan hastily retreated to the archives, closing the door behind her. Xin Xiang, however, remained icy calm. Meanwhile, Feng Zhuzhang stood helplessly in the doorway, a small, fluffy bundle of fur nestled trustingly against her leg. Nano had been studying her for nearly an hour, her large, black eyes never leaving her. Even if a person's heart is blinded by tenderness, little one, Auntie will never let you go to Uncle Lin, she whispered to herself. Your mother told you to stay home, and your uncle is busy too. Behave yourself, okay? Nano stretched Feng Zhu's leg. I sat on the sofa holding a small drawing tablet in my hand. What's in the picture? Feng Zhu asked, her heart aching. Baby, don't do this, otherwise Auntie will secretly take you to Uncle Lin, but don't tell Mom under any circumstances, otherwise Auntie will be finished. Nano raised her head. A light sparkled in Wu Hai's large eyes. Put down the small drafting table immediately and run to the fitting room. Choose a beautiful dress. Feng Zhu picked up Nano's drafting table. I saw a small turtle on it. There were also 2 words written crookedly, Aunt Feng Zhu's angry straight legs. She immediately rushed to the closet. I held Nano by the ears. Look what you drew. I'm the little girl who loves you the most. How did you turn into a little turtle? Nano poked her finger into her mouth. She held Feng Zhu's hand. Keep being sweet. Feng Zhu's heart almost melted. How can I blame Zio? Nano, hurry up and take your hand away. Nano, Auntie didn't pinch your ear, did she? Nano shook her head. Choose a little white-red dress for Feng Zhu. Nano. Don't you like wearing dresses? I've never wanted to wear them. Why are you wearing a dress now? Although Feng Zhu is unhappy. But she still changed into a beautiful dress for Nano's sake. Had Nano really reached the age of beauty? After all, Nano was already 3 years old. Nano changed and walked in front of the mirror. She wanted to marry Feng Zhu. No, don't worry. Do you want to see Uncle Lin Yi? They all dressed up in such beautiful dresses on purpose. Nano just changed into new clothes. She ran out and immediately hugged my leg. Nano, how did you run out? Uncle brought you a little rabbit and a little panda today. Do you like them? No, blind spot. She hugged the little pink rabbit. Feng Zhu approached without panicking. Lin Yi, why are you here? Nano will find you any minute. She even changed her clothes. Nano turned and looked at Feng Zhu. Feng Zhu continued, No, don't let Auntie talk like that. Why are you keeping a rabbit? Don't you hate furry toys more than anything? Last time I gave you one, I threw it in the pond. I was surprised I even asked. Nano, don't you like fluffy toys? Nano picked up the little rabbit and shook his head. I couldn't wait to explain, so I laughed and said, Uncle knows Nano likes little rabbits. Did you throw it away because it wasn't a rabbit last time? Nano nodded. 2 small arms tightly hugged the rabbit and the bear. Feng Zhu got angry and chopped off its paws. Last time I bought a little rabbit, you still threw it in the pond. Nano, why did you throw the toy your aunt gave you into the pond? Nano patted my hands. I can't help but say this. Nano is still little, don't be so fierce. It will scare the little one. Snow patted his chest and felt that the little one was about to get angry. I gently stroked Nano's head. He was obviously just an adorable 3-year-old. What kind of little rascal is this? Then I took Nano back to the living room. What happened to Nano? Why is she looking for her uncle today? Nano slid out of my arms and handed me a small drawing board lying on the table. This is the picture you painted. Can you show this to Uncle? Uncle used to learn to draw too. I carefully opened Nano's painting. Is that a turtle? I think there's something written on it, just when I was about to find out the truth. Snow suddenly put the drawing board away. Don't look at it. Nano's painting is terrible, it's okay. I just looked. No, Feng Zhu took the drawing board and went into seclusion. Some angry Nano turned her little sister into a turtle. This is too much. I saw Nano's second drawing. It looks like there are 2 people. One is a woman with long hair, the other is a man with short hair. Nano, what does this mean? Uncle doesn't understand. Nano pointed to a figure on the drawing board. Are you pointing at me again? I'm full of mistakes. Is that me with the short hair? Is that your mother with the long hair? Nano slapped the ground hard. The little head started thinking about the little chicken again. Nano, why did you bring your mother and me together? I thought it was your father. Nano picked up a small painting. I drew a little star in the middle of myself in the wind, I said helplessly. Nano, I'm not your father, I'm Uncle Lin. Nano doesn't care what my name is. A crying dad who is born and born, just hold me and don't let go. She sat in my arms and continued drawing. I drew a baby next to his parents, holding hands. Feng Zhu had been searching for this drawing for a long time. I can't find myself, I'm angry and pinched Nano's face. Nano, where is Auntie? Why haven't you seen Auntie? Nano was busy drawing a little man. Feng Zhu is so angry. Why is Auntie so far away from you? Nano drew another little father and child. Just then, Feng Li returned before everyone else. Look at me and Nano so close. Not only did I get hooked, Nano's eyes are covered in tiny teeth. Lucky turn and don't let go of my neck. Did your uncle see you again? I turned around and said to Feng Li. Mr. Feng, I think Nell suits me better. That's why I turned down the role of the main character. Feng Li sat down next to me. With a sigh in his eyes, he said, show me the script, I'll give him the file. He opened the script and quickly scanned it. I found the leading role really problematic, especially that long kissing scene. It's even more unacceptable. He patted the script. Linny nodded repeatedly, acknowledging that the character was indeed flawed. Then he opened Nell's script. I found Nell mostly focused on her career, only occasionally holding hands with her daughter, but there was also a kissing scene. Feng Li frowned slightly. Lingyi, can this kissing scene be changed? As an investor, can I make changes to the script? Mr. Feng, I'm not sure. I need to contact the original author. Once I get their permission, everything should be fine. Suddenly, Feng Zhu said curiously. Lingyi, what company are you working for now? You're so handsome, I've never seen anything like you before. I'm still a rookie. I just signed a contract for a few months. He's very enthusiastic. Want to join our company? We're much stronger than Jiahua Entertainment. Our resources are also top-notch. This will definitely help you succeed. I smile back. Thank you for Mr. Feng's good intentions, but I'm very happy with Jiahua Entertainment. I have no plans to move to them, okay? But if you change your mind, don't forget to find our company first. Sister Feng Zhu's eyes filled with joy. Zio Nano showed her mother a photo of her entire family. This is Mom. This is Nano. Feng Li is full of curiosity. Who is this? Nano patted my hand. The wind is blowing. It's your Uncle Lin. I have some awkward explanations. Nano is acting casual. Don't take this seriously. The wind smiles slightly. I think Nano is interesting. Nano doesn't play with other children. He loves you very much. If you have time, let's go with him. The wind moves gently. I smile slightly. Yes, Nano is a sweet and obedient little boy. I'm getting ready to leave the estate. Nano's tail follows me constantly as I'm busy squatting. Okay, Uncle Lin will come another day. First, behave yourself at home. Call me if you miss me, okay? He shook his head. He looked surprised. This little ghost chick doesn't even call. He'll call when he's 2. When I was working, Nano asked me to call her every day. Then let Uncle teach you, okay? Nano held my leg and I felt a little happy, so I knelt down and taught her to call. I taught her again, but she still didn't remember. No big deal, how many times do smart kids learn? Nano learned it once, Uncle came to teach it a second time. I was patient again and showed it a third time. This smart kid finally understood. As the car drove away, Feng Zhu thought. Nano, your Uncle Lin is gone. Why don't you let him teach you a few more times? Nano speaks with a narrow mouth, secretly thinking. Adults like smart kids, I can't be too stupid. What if Uncle Ling doesn't like me? Feng Zhu's argument is a big misunderstanding. No, you did it on purpose. The last time you asked my aunt to call me, I was still being stalked a few days ago. It turns out it was all done on purpose. Nano was caught red-handed, just a tightly clenched mouth. A silent word, 9 o'clock in the evening. I returned to the apartment. I heard someone shaking at the door. Lin Chen, why are you here? I asked in a lower voice. Lin Chen turned around. Brother, my parents want you to come home. They feel guilty about you. I hope you find a serious job. Lin Chen had no choice but to look up. Am I not being serious now? Don't forget you're in this circle too, brother. That's not what I meant. My parents saw them looking for you last time. I thought some old woman had kidnapped you, so let me take you back. Lin Chen explained hastily and I laughed coldly. This popular search query, you didn't show it to them on purpose, did you? Ling Chen shook his hands vigorously. I just really want to help you get married. Don't get me wrong, there's no other meaning to it. I understand that all these years I've been taking your place. But I don't have any selfish motives. Mom also said that I should take you back tomorrow. No problem. Thank you, I replied coldly. Close the door. I was in a bad mood. Everything was destroyed by Lin Chen. Come inside. I continued translating the script while lying on my bed. I read this script 30 times because I knew this was my only chance to turn myself upside down. Meanwhile, a gloomy atmosphere reigned in the Lin family. Mother Lin looks gloomy. Since he's willing to live in this dilapidated apartment, let him come with her. I'm not afraid of bringing shame on our Lin family. Fortunately, no one knows he's a young man. Lin Fu chided Lin Mu for being a good son. Now he's being kidnapped by an old woman. If word gets out, our Lin family's reputation will be at risk. Fortunately, it wasn't made public. Lin Mu was touched. They were afraid that Lin Chen's feelings were hurt. I always hide my identity, Lin Fu patted Lin Chen on the shoulder. You must watch this, don't let Lin Yi pretend to be Lin's son. You are our hope. In the future, Lin's group will rely on you. Lin Fu looked at Lin Chen with admiration. Lin Chen is his greatest pride, don't worry. I will never let you down. A slight coldness flickered in Lin Chen's eyes. Lin Shi, he's in bide. By this time, Feng Li had already met with the writer King. Feng Li sat down on a chair and handed over the script. Don't worry, I just want to talk to you about removing the second daughter's character. King He hesitated, but the second daughter had several important scenes that could affect the overall effect. But removing some of the noise doesn't matter. For example, in the scene where Feng Li holds hands, he continues asking questions. I'm afraid I'll have to change the script. King He hesitated. Feng Li, without hesitation, pulled out a white gold card and placed it on the table. 3 million is enough. King He immediately patted the screen. Enough, that's enough. I need to correct the second daughter's game. After resolving the issue, Feng Li answered my call. Mr. Feng, are you looking for me? I've contacted the scriptwriters. I'll make some minor adjustments to the second daughter's plot, but it won't affect the overall result. Mr. Feng can make a decision. You are an investor. You can change it at any time. The heroine is already sure. This is my third sister, Lin Ruoxi. And the second daughter is the little red-haired flower girl Song Yao, who returned to China abroad. Suddenly, the behind-the-scenes story has become a hot topic online. Everyone's wondering why Song Yao suddenly appeared in the film. She used to be the lead, but now she's playing a supporting role alongside Lin Ruoxi. It's truly disappointing. Some say Lin Ruoxi probably has connections behind the scenes. I heard she's the sister of film director Lin Chen. Lin Chen has already been promoted to film director. We haven't even heard about it. Lin Ruoxi saw these comments. Her angry face turned red, her phone turned pink. Lin Chen's face turned blue. He strongly advised, sister, don't participate in this show. I'll find you a better role. No, this script is very high quality and it's a large-scale project. I'll be playing the first girl, Lin Ruoxi, with cold memories. But why have I never heard of Song Yao before? Lin Ruoxi was full of doubts. She was a legendary figure in the entertainment world. She had a high status in her social circle. But almost 2 years had passed since she left abroad. Many had gradually forgotten about her. Lin Chen explained that this was precisely how it happened. But this time, she's just a female lead too. Who is this second boy? Lin Ruoxi asked. Lin Chen, after a moment's hesitation, replied, This is Lin Yi. Everything has already been decided. Lin Yi, isn't he a new person? How can you play with a guy? Lin Ruoxi asked in surprise. It looks like he really was kidnapped by an old woman, but he looks quite attractive. I'm sure many people are buying him, but as long as he doesn't call himself a member of the Lin family, I won't abandon him. When Lin Fu heard these words upon entering, he became so angry that he began to tremble. What a pity, look what a good son you have. How could he be our own son? Lin Fu, enraged by the blood of the Lin family, shouted, but no one dared contradict him. After some time, Lin Chen persuaded Wei to stop his anger. Is being angry bad, or is Xiao Chen the most considerate? After all this nonsense, it's best not to mention him. Lin Mu is a bit suspicious. Guoxing, why don't you send Lin Yi abroad? What if people find out he's our own son? What will happen to the Lin family's reputation? Lin Ruoxi also followed the voice. Mom and Dad are right. Let everyone know he's from our Lin family. It's a disgrace. I don't want to lose face. If there's something wrong with the Lin family, this really is a good way to deal with it. Let me get to it. I just finished taking photos of the makeup. The makeup artist complimented me on my skin. I still don't remember seeing how beautiful my brother's skin was. I smiled slightly, but didn't say anything. I continue reading the script in my hands. On the other hand, Wu Zihao's poster was also captured. He was dissatisfied, saying, Why did you choose me as such an ugly person? I want to retake the exam. Why is Lin Yi so handsome? I just went out and heard a noise. Teacher Wu, we really tried our best. We chose the best lighting and photographer for you. Perhaps if you took a different group, the results wouldn't be as effective. The film crew couldn't explain anything. I heard that. Wu Zihao instantly became angry. What is this? This is so terrible. Maybe I should form a team. Wu Zihao was very dissatisfied with the crew and insisted on reshooting the scene. The crew really had no choice, so I had to promise to arrange a reshoot for him the next day. After that, I left the set. I was walking and sending a message to Nano. Suddenly, a familiar voice rang out. I heard it in my ears, looked up and saw him. I ran away, holding the phone behind my back. Lin Yi, where are you running? Stop, he caught up with me. I was pushed into the corner. A hand was squeezing my neck. I got angry and asked Lin Yi, is this woman so scary now? At that moment, I felt helpless. No, why did you come back? He smiled and said, of course, it's because this woman is very dangerous. Haven't you seen the latest news? I'm already a female role model for Fusheng. What are you talking about? He was surprised to hear this. This is my first role in 2 years. You're a big shot. I looked at him with a frown. Aren't you inventing a new dance? How could you possibly have time to see the play? He smiled and explained that, of course, it was because the production had reached a dead end. So I was planning to act in the play. It just so happened that a girl was chosen for this play. Oh, don't talk about me. You just returned from China for 2 months and got this role. Things seem to be going very well. Song Yao clings to my hand. I'm busy pushing Song Yao. I don't care whether you want to stay away from me or not. Song Yao stopped and burst into tears. Even though I don't consider her a woman, she is still a girl. No. I'm afraid I'm not very good at creating your image. I don't care. Hey, do you have time to eat together? Yes, but not today. I'll keep my phone open and keep sending messages with the warning, no. Song Yao has a bad feeling about this. What's so important, Lin Ye? You don't have a girlfriend, do you? You think too much. Just a friend. I saw Nono's sweet expression. It was the first time Song Yao had seen me smile so happily. The anxiety in my heart suddenly intensified. Lin Yi, you have to be honest. Are you in love? Have you really misunderstood? A 3-year-old child was talking to me. It made me laugh. What? Oh, I have everything. When did this happen? Why don't I know? This isn't my daughter. This is my friend's daughter. I had no choice but to explain. Oh, you always only say half of what you say. I thought you really did have a girlfriend. Song Yao was just saying that. You interrupted me. Now blame me. I explained it. Nano is an adorable 3-year-old, like a toddler, but she can't talk yet. I don't understand why, so I always make time to spend with her. Is Nano the child's little friend? I'll go see her when I'm free. By the way, bring something to eat, Song Yao said awkwardly. I ended up in the city. The little princess in the capital was called an orphan. You think too much. He wasn't ugly when he ate and wore clothes. The last time I saw his jacket, it cost 5 million and the back with a 0 made my eyes bloom, and my most expensive clothes cost over 100 million. After dinner, I went to Jinxiu Garden and held the newborn little king for Nano, but this time Nano didn't fly over to hug me like before. Looking around the empty living room, I couldn't hear a sound from little Nano. I asked the manager standing next to him, Uncle Lee, where is Nano? Young Master Lin, the girl is ill. You should go and see her. I rushed up the stairs to Nano's room and carefully pushed the door open. The huge bed was covered with a small bag. Nano's beautiful face bulged out of the frame. Her face was usually red and pale, but here her eyes were closed. Seeing this made me feel very sad. I couldn't speak because of the pain. No, Uncle Lin came to visit you. She heard my voice. No, she opened her big eyes. She stretched out her little arms and hugged him. No, did your mom and aunt go to work? Poor thing, Uncle Lin came to escort you. Nano stroked my face with a voice like the sound of milk. She lay down in my arms and I put on Nano's coat. I quickly took her downstairs. Uncle Lee, Nano is sick. I should take her to the hospital, young Master Lin. The family doctor came to see the young woman. He only administered the medication this morning. The flight attendant sighed and said, Missy is the hardest person to work with. Even her older and younger sisters can't help her. I touched Nano's little head. I was so soft. Why doesn't Nano take his medicine? It's better to take medicine when you're sick. Nano threw up. She stuck out her tongue with her little finger. You think it's too bitter, huh, baby? Very bitter, but it gets better quickly. Uncle bought you some candy today. Hurry up and take your medicine so you can eat the candy. Meanwhile, Feng Zhu sat helplessly on the sofa. Lin Yi, you're finally here. Don't try to persuade me. This little ancestor hasn't eaten at all. No, listen to me. Hurry up and take your medicine. Uncle gave you some candy. Nano obediently ate the medicine in my hand. I immediately put a milk candy in her mouth. I thought, how could such a wonderful child be born? I really want to take her home. Feng Zhu looked at the wooden pocket. She bought the medicine like this. I spent 2 hours persuading her. She didn't eat anything. In short, you get the idea. Feng Zhu was busy making calls. Sister Nano has taken her medicine. Lin Yi has arrived. She just finished her medicine. Am I not better than uncle? The phone hung up, they just hung up. Feng Zhu immediately squatted down and silently drew a circle on the floor. I fed Nano another candy. Put the remaining milk candies in her pocket. Nano will only eat 2 today, otherwise your teeth will break. In the future you won't be able to eat tasty food. Nano was pleased with the candies in her pocket. Feng Li returned and hurriedly asked, Nano, are you okay? I answered with a smile. Everything is fine, she just took her medicine. Feng Li patted Nano on the head. She said Nano is in poor health. She's been sick for 3 days and doesn't want to take her medication. This is very worrying. How did you give Nano her medication? I gave Nano permission to take her medication. She took it. Nano is actually very obedient. Feng Li hesitated a little. Lingyi, I want to ask you for a favor. Nano has been very dependent on you lately. Now only you can convince her to take the medicine. So can you stay at the estate for a while? I drank the water. I almost threw it away. It's not a good place to live. I'm a man living here, Feng Li interrupted. It doesn't matter, there are plenty of responsible men here. No need to worry, Feng Zhu said helpfully. Yes, Lingyi, just help my sister. Nano is useless when she's sick, only you can. Nano also climbed down from the windmills and climbed into my arms. 2 large eyes looked at me with tears in their eyes. I could only helplessly respond. Okay, I'll live here for a month. A month is too little. How about living for a year? The windmills frown. The wind and snow stung Nano's little face, but he laughed. Nano, from now on, Uncle Lin will be living here. Are you happy? Nano smiled happily and nodded. 2 little arms hugged me tightly. The wind and snow were so sweet. Lingyi, look how much Nano likes you. You'll be a father soon. Why don't you be a real father to him? Mr. Feng, don't tease me. It's already late. I have to go. I quickly laid Nano down on the sofa. Ready to go, just got to the door. Feng Li said to Lingyi, when are you going to move your things? I'll send someone to help you. Don't worry, Mr. Feng, he replied. Nothing special, I'll move in 2 days, 2 more days. Or tomorrow, I'll wait for you at the apartment after work. I'll send someone to help you move. I can't refuse. I have to admit, Feng Li's lips are a little unusual. Nano is like a little tail. Follow me tightly. Send me to the living room. I can't go back, Nano. Uncle Lin will go with you tomorrow, okay? Are you still cold? That's how it is. Nano returned to the living room, half conscious. I arrived at the opening ceremony very early. Suddenly, a shadow appeared in front of me. Lingyi, I didn't expect you to take a male position. Do you enjoy the taste of life? I want to change my heart, Lingyi, don't be so rude. Do you know what waiting for your father to act will lead to? Lin Ruoxi threatened. I laughed. I never called myself your brother. It's glory, Lin family. I took a few steps. Yin and Yang said. I asked who it was. It turned out it was Lin Zai. I really have enough space. I don't know. I thought the Empress Dowager was married. Lin Ruoxi replied coldly. Song Yao, what's your relationship with Lingyi? Could it be that you're his master? Song Yao's eyes widened. It's okay to eat and talk nonsense. The role Lingyi's strength plays has nothing to do with me. Unlike some people who are sour and stinking, Lin Ruoxi's face is pale. Song Yao, you're talking nonsense. The production team values my talent to give me this role, right? What talent does Miss Ling possess? Is it the talent of her partner in the last group, or the talent of the heroine who can't cry? Song Yao asked, straightening her chest. Song Yao, don't overdo it. Don't forget that you're my partner, and I'm the heroine. Turn around and leave. Song Yao looked back and clenched her fist. This woman is complete nonsense, always trying to gain an advantage by using her connections. How did you get her? I'm innocent. I didn't contact her. She came for tea. I didn't do anything, really. Then stay away from her, she's no good, Song Yao reminded me after the ceremony. The director invited everyone to dinner at the hotel. I drank until late at nights. When I returned to the apartment, I suddenly heard a familiar voice. I hesitated but couldn't help but shout, Ruyan. The man turned around. But it's not Liu Ruyan's flawless face, but Feng Li's aggressiveness, like the moon in the sky. One of them looks like a snow flower. I was mistaken. Mr. Feng, why are you here so late? Feng Li heard my name wrong. A cold glint flashed in his eyes, but it wasn't written on his face. I didn't say I'd move into the estate today. I'll take someone to help you move. Where did you drink wine? Who were you drinking with? I looked back without thinking. I drank little. The camera crew turned on the camera. Liu Dao pulled a few times. Everything's fine, I said. I opened the door. The bodyguard behind me started moving something. I stopped it immediately. The refrigerator and the sofa aren't moving. I just need to grab some clothes to change. Then I hurried back to the bedroom. Everything that was in the way was suddenly stuffed into the suitcase. My gaze was fixed on the wooden frame. Inside were a man and a woman. They were 17 years old. Liu Ruyan and I took the frame. Since the shell has been put back, open the drawer and throw it in. After all, so many years have passed. It's time to put it back. Lin Yi, are you finished? Feng Li asked me to take the luggage out of the room and said, "Here's the thing, I have some things. Is there any support from Mr. Feng? Otherwise, I've made the whole bed," I replied softly. Of course, there is no need to bring in bed linen after cleaning. I sat in the back seat with Feng Li and couldn't help but glance at him. In the light, her skin is white and translucent. Her eyelashes are like black butterflies. She truly is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. There shouldn't be a single man who doesn't like her. I've heard that those who court her could circle the earth several times. But she didn't like anyone. Now she was still alone. Suddenly, Feng Li opened her eyes. I was so busy that I opened my eyes, pretending to enjoy the view outside the window. Arriving at the park, I immediately pushed the car door open to get out. Nano is waiting to the side, seeing me. She immediately patted me on the shoulder happily. I picked up Nano and said, "Nano, were you waiting for your uncle here?" He nodded, pointing to a table nearby. Feng Zhu explained, "Nano wants to wait until you come back for dinner tonight. I waited for you to return. He refused to eat and there was nothing I could do." The guilt in my heart instantly reached its peak. It turned out that Nano was waiting for me to eat. I hugged Nano and went into the house with him. Feng Zhu stared at the plates on the table for a long time. I tucked my chin in, tears threatening to stream down my face. "Lin Yi, you're finally here. If Nano doesn't come, we won't be able to eat. It's already past 8 o'clock. I haven't even had dinner." Feng Zhu was very hungry. I was hungry and I screamed. I hugged Nano and asked her, "Nano, what do you want to eat? Uncle will help you." "Lin Yi, don't worry about that little rascal. She'll eat herself. You should eat too. The food's cold," Feng Zhu greets. Feng Li sits next to me. I told the maid to make some hangover soup for Mr. Lin. I'm so drunk. I barely drank. There was no need to worry. I could just sleep. But Feng Li gently smoothed the goosebumps off my skin. "Excessive alcohol consumption is bad for your health. Drink some hangover soup later and then go to bed early." I waved my lips. My face turned red. Someone washed my hair for the first time. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. At that moment, a small hand covered my mouth. "Nano gave me this big shrimp. Thank you, Nano." "How does Nano know Uncle likes shrimp? Do you like them too? He's got a brain like chicken feet." "Uncle loves to eat. Nano loves to eat too." I gave Nano some shrimp. She looked at me with wide eyes, opened her mouth and ate it. Feng Li looked at her daughter's face. "I can't shake my head. Nano is so delicious. I ate a lot today. Uncle rewarded you." Nano's eyes were wide open. "Hold out your hands and wait for my reward." I pulled out a pink candy. "There's also a small butterfly on it. Put it in Nano's little hand. This is a reward from Uncle. Eat well in the future. There are many rewards." Nano smiled. A small mouth kisses my face. Feng Li during a meal. I can't hold back my tears. He never enjoyed being treated like that. Nano's belly is noticeably sticking out. The skirt is all lifted up. Feng Li becomes quiet. Nano ate so much for the first time. "Thank you, Lin Yi. Mr. Feng, you are too polite. I just helped a little cat. You helped my big cat. If it weren't for you, I'd probably still be worrying about sanitation." Nano is very picky. "I don't like eating. It's gotten a lot better since you came," Feng Li said, and Nano shook her head. She seems worried, as if she's saying Mom is wrong. She's not picky at all. She's a good child. I smiled and said to Nano, "Are you saying you're not picky?" Uncle knew Nano was a good child. Feng Li looked at Nano. "This little dot, so strange, right in front of me. What do you want?" Nano continued drawing on his board. I look at the little boy who is calmly drawing. He touched his little head and asked Mr. Feng, "Why doesn't Nano talk?" Feng Li leads a low-key lifestyle. When Nano was born, I was running Feng Group and busy with my career, so I didn't pay much attention to her. She had autism as a child. I don't like talking to people. Although a lot has changed now, I still can't speak. Nano is very smart. Walk at 8 months, you can draw at 1 year, just don't open your mouth. Feng Li's eyes turned red. Although he is on the outside, the president of the Feng Group of companies displays a loud style. But at the same time, he remains a wounded, inexperienced mother wearing a couple of napkins. "Mr. Feng, I will guide Nano well." Feng Li wipes away his tears. Having recovered from the shock as if the crying person wasn't her, Nano ran up with a drawing board. Smiling at her mother, Feng Li smiled and asked, "Is that him and Uncle Lin?" And Nano painted it very well. Nano showed me the painting. We're still a happy family of 3, I patiently explain. He draws very well. Nano is truly talented, but Uncle Lin isn't your father. We can't draw Uncle Lin anymore. Nano shook his head. Write it to Dad on the drawing board. When I was stupid, I was a little confused. Continue explaining to Nano. Uncle Lin is not your father. Nano poked with his small mouth. Tears streamed from my dark eyes and I screamed. I dare not repeat it. I was afraid I would make Nano cry, so I hugged Nano and gently comforted him. Uncle Lin is a good friend of yours. He looked at me. I hesitated for a moment. But Nano still said firmly, Uncle Lin is not your father. Uncle is uncle. Nano pointed to the tears. He took a brush and wiped his father's blood on his uncle. Meanwhile, a maid carried a tray. And she stopped next to me. Miss, the wine soup you ordered is ready. They handed me a white bowl. Linya drank the soup and I looked at the bowl of black soup. I had a complicated expression on my face. I felt like I was okay. Drink this. I didn't notice because it was Feng Li's mercy. I didn't refuse. I drank it all. Although it didn't look like much, it tasted fine, not too bitter. Nano immediately pulled a candy out of her pocket and handed it to me. I was touched and almost cried. Feng Li was looking at me. This clever little girl grabbed her work. Nano, it's time for you to go to bed. Feng Li said that it was already late, and Nano shook her head. And she hugged me with both arms. I hugged her, pressing her to me. Mr. Feng, Nano is young. It's normal to be clingy. Hasn't she been clingy to you before? Feng Li's face was expressionless. Indeed, Nano hadn't been attached to her before. She told herself, Nano won't sleep with me when she's 2. I'll have to sleep alone. I can't stop her. I have to follow her. I'm not Nano's father. Sleeping with her isn't good. Nano and her mother should sleep together, okay? Feng Li asked her and she shook her head. Feng Zhu watched the scene. She smiled without saying a word. She didn't expect her sister to dislike her. No. I'll sleep alone tonight. Uncle Lin lives in the next room. It's right next to you. No, I nodded. I led her into the room. I sent him the books from Nano's room. I discovered that they were all books. There was no book with fairy tales. Feng Li went quiet. No, there is no book of fairy tales. Why are there books in the room? No. I don't like reading fairy tales. Last time I lost everything I bought. Feng Li explained everything. How could this happen? I sat down next to Nano. A new voice said. I gently pat Nano's little hand. Nano, take a break. Close your eyes, I said. Nano obediently closed her eyes. Then I dragged my tired body out of the room. Lying on the bed always feels a little surreal. This is the first time I've lived in such a big house. The room is wider than my previous apartment. I'm too tired today. I fell asleep in one of the beds. After a long time, the door quietly swung open. The movement was almost imperceptible. A woman in snow-white pajamas entered the room. Her hair was carelessly tousled at the back. She approached me slowly. I felt movement around me. I felt 2 arms embracing me, soft, sweet, like a woman's. Is this a dream? I touched her again. My mouth and feet were slightly itchy, so soft. In the dream, there was a woman next to me. Linyi opened her eyes. She saw a strange situation. She pulled back the blanket lying next to her, but it was empty. Had she really slept under this blanket all night? Linyi threw the blanket aside. Remember, last night everything was different. She acted like a woman. Could it be that she remembered everything wrong? At that moment, Linyi's phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the Lin family's phone number. I didn't want to see it. I hesitated for a moment before answering. Linyi, where are you now? Hurry up and come back. An angry voice came over the phone. Linyi's voice remained a silent memory. I'm outside. Thank you for your concern. Otherwise, you will never want to step foot into the Lin family's home. Lin Fu said in an even tone. What's the problem with asking me to come back? Of course there is a problem. Lin Fu replied to Linyi coldly and said, I told you I wasn't coming back, who knows? This time Lin Fu's tone became very gentle. Linyi, your grandmother is sick. Do you not care about your grandmother? Your grandmother is so kind to you. You can't forget gratitude. Linyi had doubts. Her grandmother was the only one who treated her well. The rest of the Lin family could be ignored, but her grandmother was not. Linyi's emotions were extremely sensitive. What happened to Grandma? Your grandma is sick. Come back soon, she said. I missed you. Lin Fu's tone was light, Linyi's too. Okay, I'll be right back, she replied and asked Feng Li. What happened? My grandmother is sick. I need to go back, Feng Li asked. Do you need me to go with you? No need. You go to the company. Feng Li reminded her before leaving. There might be delays along the way. Whatever happens, call me. Don't worry. Zio Nano hugged Linyi's leg and said, Dad. Linyi squatted down and replied, Good job, Nano. Uncle will be back soon. Eat with mom first. Lin Yi ran out of the living room. Lin Yi hurried back into the house. She saw a family of 4 eating dinner, but there was no sign of her grandmother. Where was her grandmother? Your grandmother is still resting. Has Zio Yi not had breakfast yet? Mom just made breakfast. Let's have breakfast together, Lin Mu suggested warmly, to which Lin Yi calmly replied. I've already eaten. What about grandma? Lin Mu smiled and said. Your grandmother is in the old house. She's healthy. Don't worry. She didn't want to come here. Lin Yi was in no mood. Are you lying to me? Lin Chen asked. Brother's mom and dad are worried about you. You've been away from home for a week. Where did you go? Don't worry about it. I'm fine outside, Lin Yi said as she prepared to leave. Lin Chen quickly replied. Lin Yi, sit down and eat. Lin Yi didn't want to eat. She hadn't planned to eat. Why did you call me this time? Didn't you want to see me earlier? Lin Fu asked angrily. I've prepared all the necessary procedures for you to leave the country. Get ready, Lin Fu smiled, to which Lin Yi replied. So you called me back to send me abroad. This time I won't comply with your demands anymore. I'm not going anywhere. Lin Fu was furious. Lin Yi, don't be so rude to me. I'm sending you abroad for your own good. If you stay here, you'll bring shame on our entire Lin family. Lin Fu snapped coldly. This time I won't obey. After saying this, she left the Lin family's living room. You've grown so much we can't control you. Don't come back, Lin Fu shouted. Lin Yi only smiled bitterly. She left that house and returned to the living room of the Jinxiu estate. Nano was waiting in a separate room. Hearing familiar footsteps, she quickly grabbed her drawing board. Wasn't that little devil still in his room? Nano saw that Lin Yi had returned. She immediately threw herself on her neck. Her tender face was pressed against hers, kissing it. Lin Yi touched the baby's head. Nano, I'll stay in the room. We'll play later, okay? Nano carefully loosened her grip. Her small eyebrows wrinkled like a caterpillar's. What if Uncle's unhappy? Is there a way to make Uncle happy? Feng Li quietly thought, watching them. Sister, what happened to Lin Yi? I've been overcome with sadness since returning, and it seems like something's bothering you. Outside, the rain and wind pounded the door like footsteps in high heels. What am I supposed to talk to myself about? I said, opening the door. When I said that everything was fine and I just missed my grandmother, the wind and rain asked a counter-question. Where is your grandmother? My grandmother lives in the village. I said that I would return from afar tomorrow, and they replied that they would keep me company. Tomorrow is the weekend. I raised my head. I thought that old people love babies and grandma would probably be delighted to see Nano. My heart immediately felt lighter, and the next morning I peeked into Nano's room. The baby slept soundly, enveloped in a pleasant scent, her soft pink face and her tiny hand clutching a toy lamb. I gently stroked her cheek. I asked Nano, I'll take you to grandma's today, okay? The little girl's big eyes opened wide. Without letting go of my hand, she continued to sleep in my arms. I carefully dressed her, choosing a cute jacket. He put on his hat and put Nano on display. Feng Li stood by the door in a black windbreaker, black shorts, and 4-inch heels, radiating cool elegance. If you're busy, you don't have to come with me. I'm just taking Nano with me because Grandma really likes children. I gently pinched Nano's cheek. The baby opened her eyes, saw me, and smiled softly. She extended her arms toward me and quietly babbled, "Daddy, Daddy," hugging me around the neck. I gently stroked her head. Looking at this, Feng Li thought, how can such a wonderful child exist in this world? I'm completely free today, Feng Zhu replied, sitting on the sofa. Sister, don't you have a meeting scheduled today? I asked, but Feng Li only coldly patted Feng Zhu on the shoulder. Feng Zhu immediately fell silent. I thought Sister Feng Li was incredibly busy, but now she also has to go with us to the village to visit Grandma. It's so noisy and crowded here. The wind died down and silence reigned all around. After eating, Nano had a pink bottle of milk hanging around her neck. Nano shook her head and declared, I don't drink milk anymore, I'm all grown up. I touched the baby's cheek and said, have a drink on the way, Uncle Lin likes milk too, follow his example. Nano stared at me with her big eyes in surprise. The little one clutched the bottle with both hands and began to drink. My heart melted with tenderness. No wonder she always smelled of milk, after all, she always drinks it from a bottle. I kissed her tenderly on the cheek. Of course, Nano needs to drink milk to grow faster. Although I'd seen such sweet 2-year-olds before, Uncle Lin seemed especially fond of spoiling her this way. I opened the trunk of the car, which was filled to the brim with healthy food. Repeating meaningless symbols from the original have been omitted for the sake of coherence. This is wheat that will be harvested in just a few months. Have you never seen it? Of course not. Nano felt a surge of pride as she ran up to her grandmother and started talking about milk. At first, her grandmother was taken aback by this sweet group. Since when did I become a grandmother? Baby, are you sure you haven't got the wrong address? Nano shook her head and declared, No, Grandma, it's me, I'm back. The old woman looked up, took in my face, then the little girl standing below, and in that moment she understood everything. Grandson, you've already had a daughter, and the wind is so gentle and the land is so fertile, she said with a smile, examining Feng Li closely. Beautiful, slender, with a pleasant appearance, Grandma nodded approvingly. It was good that everyone in our family had finally settled down. Everyone had wives. Previously, she was worried that I would be left alone, but now she was delighted to have such a wonderful daughter-in-law. You're incredibly lucky, she's your girlfriend, right? And I already have a daughter. When's the wedding? Her words almost made me choke on my own saliva. I looked at Feng Li guiltily, but she seemed completely calm and not angry. Grandma, you've got it all wrong. We have a completely different relationship. I tried to justify myself. But the old woman only laughed. Zioyi, Grandma can see you're just shy. You even have a child, so why these excuses? Get married soon. I swallowed hard. Grandma, really, Nano isn't my biological daughter. You do think we're alike, right? The little girl asked in her angelic voice. But Grandma Lin only smiled. Of course, my own son, or rather my daughter. The spitting image of his mother, the nose and eyes are absolutely identical. My grandson brought home a beautiful daughter-in-law and a wonderful child. Grandma immediately picked up the baby in her arms, kissed her, and started treating her to treats, and I stood there in complete stupor. Didn't you say you were busy? Your joints are hurting. How could you spot her from afar? I brought the treats out to the table and offered everyone a taste, feeling like I was truly back at my parents' house. By the way, what's your girlfriend's name? I was unable to utter a word. Her name is Feng Li, Grandma. She's really not my girlfriend, don't get me wrong, she just came along for company. Zioyi, Grandma knows your modest nature, but since you have a child, you can't act irresponsibly. Otherwise, I simply won't let you in the door. I was completely at a loss for words to explain everything and simply looked at Feng Li. Feng Li maintained an innocent appearance, only slightly raising her eyebrows. Grandma Lin continued to rock Nano in her arms, exchanging compliments with our companion. Our arrival in the middle of the day passed unnoticed. We spent a wonderful afternoon together, filled with the warmth of home and unexpected conversations. This is where our trip to the village came to an end, leaving in our hearts the brightest memories of home and loved ones. I went into the kitchen to start cooking, and Zio, you went to help along with Li and Grandma. Grandma had just returned from a walk, indignant at the rumors. How can everyone say I have such a lovely little girl, yet my grandson himself supposedly doesn't have a partner? And yet he brought home both a daughter and a stunning daughter-in-law. Grandma Lin was genuinely angry at the village gossip, although deep down she was incredibly proud that her kind grandson had brought home both a child and such a beautiful girl.